This is Michael Woodward, and this is Season 2, Episode 26 of the Jumblethink Podcast.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Jumblethink Podcast. We explore the ideas and dreams behind some of the leading entrepreneurs from around the world. Along the way, we will give you some tips and ideas of how you can chase your own big ideas and dreams and change the world around you. Our guest on today's episode is Monica Louie. More about Monica in a moment. Our guest on Thursday's episode is Dr. Phil Carson. Here's a little taste of Thursday's episode.
My name is Phil Carson, and I am the owner of Carson Natural Health, and also I'm a co-founder of Life Transformation Medical Center. And here at Life Transformation, I am the wellness director. Carson Natural, I am a health coach and consultant. It actually started with my own life and my own health issues that I was dealing with years ago, where I was suffering and couldn't find a relief. I had taken several medications. I was drinking a couple of bottles of liquid antacid every day to try to relieve the severe gastritis I was suffering from. And I picked up a book on natural medicine in a bookstore one day and started reading through it and found the answer to my problem.
Our conversation with Dr. Phil Carson is incredible, so make sure to swing back and check out Thursday's episode. Let's take a moment, wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, or any other amazing place to listen to podcasts. Make sure you click that subscribe button. That way you never miss another episode of the Jumblethink Podcast. Now let's jump into today's episode. Hey there, welcome to the Jumblethink Podcast. My name is Michael Woodward. I am your host and super excited for today's guest. Her name is Monica Louie. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we start the interview, I want to let you know about a free resource you can download right now. We have 2 guides that are specifically for that entrepreneur that's getting ready to start. The first one is how to know when you've found your dream. And the second one is how to overcome the unknown. Swing on over to jumblethink.com/guide. That's jumblethink.com/guide to claim and download your 2 free guides. Now let's learn a little bit about Monica Louie.
My name is Monica Louie, and my business is Monica Louie LLC officially, but I am a Facebook ads coach and strategist. So I help online entrepreneurs expand their reach and reach more people with Facebook ads through high converting Facebook ads. Well, I started in the online world back in January of 2015 with a personal finance blog sharing my family story of getting out of debt. And in that experience, that's where I learned about online business, online marketing. That's where I first learned Facebook ads and applied it to my business. And I ended up having really great results with my first few Facebook ad campaigns. And as I made friends in the blogging world, then it wasn't long before my blogging friends started wanting help with their Facebook ad campaigns. And so I started helping people with their Facebook ads. And I realized that they were having great results with the Facebook ad campaigns that I was helping them with. And I was also having a lot of fun doing that. And so I ended up deciding to make the transition. I ended up selling my personal finance blog. And in the fall of 2016, I jumped full force into becoming a full-time Facebook ads coach. And now I have expanded my business since then. Well, I really love that I am creating a business that helps to create more abundance in this world. So right now, I help my students in my course and then my clients through coaching and ads management services to create strategies with Facebook ads that help them spread their message, helps them reach more people, and add more profit to their bottom line. And as they achieve great results, their businesses grow, and that also leads to my business growing. And that means that not only can I help my family reach our financial goals, but I can also pay my team well and give more generously to the causes that I care about. And so I really enjoy that I'm helping my clients help more people. And in doing so, I'm able to help more people as well. So really it comes back again to helping people. So what I do is important. It's not just about creating an ad. It's really about the strategy and helping people spread their message and let more people know about their offers that they have that can help people. And so I really like that ripple effect of that I help my clients and they get to help even more people. So one challenge I currently have in my business is that even though I have a growing team that takes a lot off my plate, I'm still the bottleneck for getting a lot of things done, including the things that only I can do. And the majority of my days are filled with meetings, either with clients or with team members working on client projects. And so then at the end of the day, then I need to try and move forward on those projects. But it seems, like it always takes longer than I feel like it really should. So that's my biggest challenge right now. So the next big goal I have for my business is that this year I am aiming to 10x my business. I created a really large, audacious goal last year that since my business was still fairly young at the beginning of the year, it didn't really seem too super realistic. But I actually almost hit my goal. And I knew that if I had hit it, that would have meant that my goal was too safe and too realistic. So I like to shoot for big goals. So this year I'm aiming to 10x my business. And I know that even if I don't do that at the end of the year, if I don't actually 10x my revenue, that looking back, I'll realize that by aiming big, I'm going to achieve so much more than if I were to just shoot for a safe, realistic goal.
We'll be right back with the interview portion of our conversation with Monica Louie. You have big ideas and dreams, but you feel a little stuck right now. Maybe you have some fear and you're not sure what the next step you should take should be. Well, the team at JumbleThink is here to help. We want to make sure that you make that big idea and dream a reality. Swing on over to jumblethink.com to learn more about how we can help you, and then let's start the conversation. Drop us a note, hello@jumblethink.com. That's hello@jumblethink.com, and let's start making your dreams a reality. Now let's join the interview portion of our conversation with Monica Louie. I am super excited about today's guest. Monica, how are you?
I am great. Thank you.
Well, welcome to the JumbleThink podcast. I'm excited to talk to you about your expertise, but I'm even more excited to talk about your journey of where you've come from and where you're going. Tell us a little bit about your backstory and how in the world you ended up in the world of digital marketing, specifically with Facebook ads.
Sure. So I originally decided that I wanted to be my own boss way back in 2008 or 2009. I was working in the corporate world and just a really demanding job where, 50 plus hours a week was the norm.
Yeah.
And at that time I was getting married and my husband and I knew that we would want to have a family. And so then as we, started planning for our first child, I knew that my priorities were shifting, that I wanted to have more flexibility in my schedule. I wanted to have more balance. And I was looking at my friends who were beginning to have, their own kids, and then they were leaving their jobs to stay home with their kids. And that was never anything that I thought that I wanted. I am a daughter of a single mom. So my mom was always working as a kid, and that's just what I anticipated, for myself, that I would grow up and have this great career. And so, but then I just realized that I really wanted something different. And so, it took some planning. It took a couple years, but when my son was almost 2, my husband and I were able to have me quit my job. So I ended up staying home. And by that time I was also pregnant with our daughter.
Wow.
But the goal was that I would figure out what kind of business I could start. And I really had no idea. But I knew that if I just put that out there, that I wanted to start a business, I wanted to do something that would be flexible with my time. I could start it small while the kids were young and then grow it, as they got older. And so then, in planning for that transition, my husband and I we saved up money and we were trying to be really smart. This was just, a few years after the Great Recession. And so we felt very vulnerable, intentionally going from two incomes down to one.
Right.
But we built up savings in anticipation. And I knew that we were going to have to be careful of our spending. And so just not even 2 months in, we saw that our savings that we had built up start to dwindle a bit. And it wasn't a lot, but it was just enough to know that that wasn't the direction that we wanted to go in, especially considering that I was pregnant and I wasn't wanting to, have to return back to the workforce,
Right.
in the next few months.
Yeah.
And so I ended up, since my corporate career was in finance, I ended up learning all I could about personal finance and budgeting. And that's when I came across success stories of people getting out of debt, paying off debt really quickly. So those stories inspired me and my husband to not only just stay afloat, living on a single income, but to attack our debt with all we could and pay it off as quickly as possible. So with that inspiration, we decided that we wanted to pay off all of our debt, including our mortgage, by the time we were 40.
Wow.
And we were 32 at the time, and our debt, including our mortgage, totaled $320,000.
Okay.
So it was a huge goal.
Yeah.
And we really had no idea if it was realistic, just living on a single income or what the numbers would look like. We didn't really think that far ahead. We just knew that we had to aim big and build up great momentum early on in order to give ourselves a chance at hitting that goal. So we ended up paying off a lot of debt really quickly. And in the first 2 years of our debt-free journey, we paid off $120,000.
Wow. So like a third of it.
Yeah, on a single middle-class income.
Wow.
And so we did that. And so through that process, people were asking us how we were doing it. They knew we were on a single income. A lot of them were my husband's coworkers who made, about the same that he did. And so they just, were pretty amazed that we were able to pay off so much debt so quickly. So then my husband really attributed me to, keeping us organized with the budget and, watching the money going out and making sure that all the extra money coming in, because we were selling things left and right, and my husband was working overtime, that all of that went towards the debt to help us achieve this goal.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's when I started my blog to help other people get out of debt, because I knew we had this great story to share, and I was really excited and passionate about it. And I thought that, helping people reach financial freedom would be something that I could do while the kids were young, and then grow it over time. So that's how I started learning about online business. Started following people like Pat Flynn, Amy Porterfield, and I ended up learning Facebook ads from Amy Porterfield. And so that's when I created my first couple of Facebook ad campaigns to promote my debt freedom training webinar. And I followed Amy's strategy in creating a Facebook ad campaign to get people on the webinar, because I had a really small audience, a small list, small Facebook page, and it ended up working out really well. So that was my first campaign, was fall of 2015.
Okay.
And Amy said back then that a good cost per conversion for webinar signups was anywhere from $1 to $3. And
Wow.
my first campaign, even with like the more expensive audiences, averaged $1.26.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
with that, I was pretty pleased.
Yeah.
Since I had a small budget to work with. We were still working our way out of debt. And so then I did it again a couple months later, and I got that average cost per conversion down to $1.01. And then that's when my friends in the blogging world started to take notice and ask me for help with their Facebook ad campaigns. And that led to my transition to sell the personal finance blog and really put myself in a position to help other business owners grow their businesses with high converting Facebook ad campaigns.
Wow, that's quite a journey, and truly inspirational. I think that a lot of people listening will be listening and going, oh, wow, that doesn't even seem like, it seems like a dream, but it doesn't seem like a reality. But you made it a reality, which is pretty cool. Now you're on this new journey of, you've transitioned from the finance website, talking about budgeting and getting out of debt and everything like that, and you've pivoted into the world of Facebook ads. First off, let's lay the groundwork. There are a lot of places you can be doing digital advertising, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, all kinds of other places. Why do you spend your time? Why do you focus on Facebook ads?
Well, for one, I mean, that's what I really learned, but I learned it because I know that, for most businesses out there, your audience is on Facebook. They have
Okay.
over 2 billion active users,
Yeah.
over 1 billion active users each day. And so the audience is there, the people are there, and it's a very low cost, relatively speaking, it's a very low cost to put up an ad and get it in front of people who are likely to be in your target audience. And so when you're very strategic with your targeting, then you can really find those people on Facebook who are likely to be interested in what you have to share.
Okay. That's very cool. And I agree. I think getting in front of the right audience is so significant in the world of advertising, and Facebook has definitely got the mass share of people there hanging out. But Facebook ads, you specifically work with coaches, bloggers, experts, helping them advertise what?
Yeah, so there are two main strategies that we tend to use. One is to drive traffic to a monetized blog post. So a lot of my clients come from the personal finance space, and they have these blogs that have ad networks display ads on their websites. They also have affiliate links throughout the post, and so they know that when they drive traffic to those monetized blog posts, that if we can get the cost per click down low enough that there is that margin there on the profit on the back end. So that's a strategy that we do a lot, is because we can get super cheap cost per click to drive super cheap traffic, targeted traffic to those blog posts. And it's a system that works really, really well.
So basically, you're making a smaller investment to get a larger return, and based on the statistics and data, you know that if you push a certain amount of traffic, you get a certain amount of conversion, and in that conversion, you're going to make whatever profit that is off of those ads that are in that blog post and that kind of thing.
Yes. Yes. And it works really well. And it's a great way to get started with Facebook ads because the cost per click, we shoot to get the cost per click down below 10 cents, but most of the time the costs actually hover around 3 to 7 cents.
Wow.
And so for, each page view, each view of your blog post, it's very, very inexpensive. So you can start with a small budget and then scale it as you see that the strategy is working, you're seeing the profit on the back end. And so it's a great way that a lot of my clients get started with Facebook ads.
So it sounds like that's a great entry place, and it doesn't sound like that's just bloggers, but video content creators, vloggers, podcasters, experts that might have materials that they're promoting around the world of whatever they're coaching. These are all people that could use that strategy.
Very true. Yes, exactly. And so I like to, when I'm starting to work with a new client, I like to see if that's a potential place to start based on, what their goals are that they envision using Facebook ads with. But then we talk about, the different options that we have. And a lot of times it's a really great place to start because we can start with a relatively low budget and then scale it up once we, get things going and make sure it's working.
So when you say relatively small budget, what is a starting entry point for a lot of people that are going, hey, I want to drive that traffic to my content. I want to start creating revenue off of this. I want people seeing my blog posts. I want to have people seeing those ads on there. What's like an entry level budget that somebody should be spending for that first phase of Facebook ads?
Sure. So I've worked with a variety of budgets from, generally maybe $15 to $20 a day up to several hundred a day. But really, I do like to start small just to make sure that we, have a strategy that's working before we scale it up. So most of the time we'll start with maybe, $15, $20, $30 a day, depending on the client's available budget. And we spread that out. So $5 per audience. And I like to start out by testing different audiences to see which ones are going to resonate with what we're sharing. And So we'll usually start with one ad across those different audiences. And then once we kind of narrow down which audiences are converting, then we can test different variations of the ad. Maybe we switch out an image, try a different headline. And so then we can see if we can even fine tune and test and tweak and get that cost even lower.
So often we hear with people that are entrepreneurial, they're like, hey, you need to be all in. But it sounds like you really should take your time on this strategy and test it and experiment with it till you get good data back, and then can make wise decision on how you're spending your money.
Yes, definitely. So when we, it's great because my clients that I've been working with over time, we know now when we're starting a new campaign, we generally know which audiences are converting the best,
Okay.
Over the long term.
Right.
But when you're just starting out, we do like to test a variety of different audiences so that we can see which ones are going to resonate with this type of content. And then we do take that information and drill down into the data. So then the next time we create a campaign that might be similar, then we kind of have a starting point. So we're not having to test as many variables when we create that next campaign.
And when you say audience, like, can you define that a little bit more? Are we talking like specific demographics? Are we talking interest? How do you define audience in this case?
Yes. So Facebook gives us a variety of different audience types and different ways to create different audiences. And so there's what I call the audience heat spectrum,
Okay.
where we can look at, your warmest audiences and then cooler audiences and then colder audiences.
All right.
And so your warmer audiences are going to be like your website traffic and your Facebook fans and your email subscribers. And so we can create specific audiences around those, each of those audiences in Facebook. And then the cooler audiences are going to be the lookalike audiences.
Okay.
And so once we have, say, your Facebook fans audience, then we can create a lookalike audience around that in Facebook, where Facebook then goes out and finds more people who are like those people who like your page already. So if somebody likes your page, they're likely interested in your content, interested in what you have to share. And Facebook looks at who those people are, what commonalities do they have, their interests, their activities, their behaviors, and then it goes to find more people and I like them. And I find that the lookalike audiences are really a great way to expand and grow your audience. So Facebook does a really great job in figuring out who should belong in those lookalike audiences. And those often convert the best for us, the lookalike audiences. Just taking it even to the colder audiences then would be like the interest, the detailed targeting that you mentioned. Okay. So that's where we would target other pages or, pull in keywords that your audience is likely to be interested in. Or maybe we look at, the demographics or the geographical area, or maybe even like their net worth. We can drill down to net worth or income level. And so there are a bunch of hundreds of different variables that we can include in creating kind of your ideal audience member.
So that's strategy number one. You said there's two strategies that you really start with or the foundation of what you do. What's the second?
Yeah. So the second strategy, so the first one is the traffic campaign to the blog post.
Okay.
And the second strategy is to create a conversion campaign where we want to get people to opt in for the email list. And oftentimes that then leads into a sales funnel to build a relationship with that person who has just opted into your email list. And then, on the back end, then you can have an offer that you make. So that's a conversion campaign. And that just generally costs more per result than a traffic campaign because it's a bigger ask. In this case, you're asking for somebody to click and then give you their name and email address. Whereas in the traffic strategy, all you're really asking for is a click and then digesting the content.
Right.
So that's why a lot of times I like to start off with a traffic campaign so we can kind of learn about the audiences. And then then we can create a conversion campaign if that suits the client's goal.
And it sounds like in a lot of ways that first method works really, really well for bloggers, but somebody like a coach or an expert that wants to do consulting or seminars or something like that, an upsell, maybe that campaign, the conversion campaigns are a little bit better for that space.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll go straight to the conversion campaign because they say, I have this offer. I really want to grow my email list, or I have this webinar that I want to promote. And so then for all of those items, we'll go straight to the conversion campaign. There are different strategies where you can, first drive traffic to a blog post. And if you've got the pixel placed, then you can create an audience of people who visited that blog post because they're likely interested, in that topic that also is in line with your webinar or, whatever your next offer is that you want to actually create a conversion campaign to drive traffic to.
Now, the one thing I haven't heard, and I think all of us who have done any kind of advertising on Facebook for our businesses have encountered this, is the promoted posts method. And I think most of us can say, hey, we tried that. It wasn't the greatest thing ever. So tell us a little bit about why you kind of don't look at that as a focus point and how maybe that isn't the best strategy for people.
So you're referencing the boost post button when you've got a post on your Facebook page, and Facebook says, "Oh, this post is performing better than 85% of the other posts on your page. Click the boost post button to get more eyes on this post." And that's not a strategy that I love, because the way that I look at it is that is Facebook's low-hanging fruit. They say, for $10, for $30, whatever it is, small amount, get more eyes on this post. And a lot of times people are quick to take Facebook up on that, or even, Facebook will dangle a carrot of, we'll give you $10 to boost this post.
Right.
And
right.
So to me, that's just Facebook's low-hanging fruit. It's just like in 3 clicks, you can spend some money and get more eyes on your post. But I like to look at the overall picture. Is that really the post that you want to be promoting? Because even when you hit the boost post button, you are still creating a campaign. However, you're limited with your options there than if you were to go straight into the ads manager to actually create a campaign. And so anytime you're spending money in your business, I think you need to think through the strategy, think about what is the end goal? Is this really going to help me achieve my business goals? Is this the right place to be spending my money? And I think a lot of times there are better ways to create a more strategic campaign in the ads manager.
Yeah. And what you're saying is make intentional decisions. Don't be reactive, but be proactive in a lot of ways.
Exactly. And, if Facebook says, hey, don't you want to boost this post? And you look at it and you realize, actually, yes, I do. This is a monetized blog post that I shared on my page. It's getting great engagement already. And I really do want to get more eyes, to this post. Then, and if it's already accumulating great social proof, it's getting lots of, the reactions, the comments and shares, then you can essentially boost a post, but I would rather go into the ads manager and then pull that post from the page. It'll bring with it all that social proof of all the likes and, hearts and comments and shares with it. But then you have more options so that you can test it. You can test a variety of different audiences, and really then, optimize it further. So I think using that strategy will help you keep your costs lower over the long term than if you were just click the boost post button every time Facebook suggests it, or, every new post on your blog or whatever. I think being more strategic and creating a campaign where you have the ability to test and tweak and optimize will help you get more results for lower costs in the long run.
Now, how can people start really learning about this stuff? Because I think often the reason the low-hanging fruit seems very apt, just appealing to business owners is they're looking at it going, it's so confusing. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to look. What do they need to be doing to start really converting those ads into being an asset and not just something they're spending money on?
Well, I think, educating yourself is for the first part, that's really going to help you avoid those mistakes, like just taking advantage of the boost post button. And so really learning about the strategy that's involved, learning about the different options. There are a lot of different options when creating a campaign. But a lot of times with my clients, not all of them are going to apply to their business. Facebook, has created this platform to help all kinds of different businesses. And so some campaign objectives, campaign types will better fit with, certain kinds of businesses, while others will fit with, other kinds of businesses. And so learning about the options, but then realizing that just because an option is there doesn't mean that you need to actually take advantage of it or that it's the best fit for your strategy. So it's a little bit overwhelming just because of all the options, and Facebook is adding new options all the time to us, for us. But they're trying to help us improve our results and get more of the results that we're looking for. And so that's why they have all those different options there, but just really learn about, which ones are going to apply to the strategy that you want to use Facebook ads for.
Right. And they want you to be happy. They want you to be converting with your goals, because that means that you're going to spend more money with them. They'll make more money and you'll continue that process, right?
Exactly. And that's why the algorithm is so sophisticated, and it really is so smart. So even as your campaign goes, then the algorithm is constantly working to figure out who in the audiences you selected are actually clicking through and opting in, and how do we find more of those people? How do we get this ad in front of more of those people who are likely to take that action that you're looking to achieve with this campaign? And so it's constantly looking to optimize it. So even if you create an audience that includes men and women from ages 18 to 65 plus, so a very broad audience, maybe it's a lookalike of your email list because you want to find more people who are likely to be interested in what you share in your newsletter, then you'll see over time that Facebook will kind of narrow it down to maybe some specific age groups within your email list. It'll look at, what are the age groups, what are the demographics of the people on your email list there, and maybe it's skewed more to the younger demographics. Then you'll likely see that your ad is being shown to more of the younger people, and or maybe it's male and female. Maybe your audience is very heavily female, and so you'll see that reflected in who your ad is being shown to as well.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And one more question about ads on Facebook. How do they play with the ads on Instagram, since Instagram is a subset of Facebook now? And how does that impact campaigns? What should we be looking at when doing Facebook ads, and how it impacts our Facebook space too?
Yes.
Or not Facebook, our Instagram space too.
Yes. So within the ads manager, you can select where you want your ads to appear. And so that is called the placement. So where is the ad going to be placed? And so you have a lot of different options. And because they're trying to expand the ads platform and give us more options of where we can show our ads, then they're constantly adding new options all the time. And so one of those places is Instagram, since Facebook owns Instagram. And so with that, if advertising on Instagram makes sense for your audience, and I think in a lot of cases it does, then just be mindful of the ad that you're creating and how it looks on Instagram. And so like we find this with our traffic campaigns. When we're creating an ad for Facebook, there's an image. If we're just doing the single image ad, there's an image, there's a headline, there's text above the image, and then there's the newsfeed link description, which is that smaller text below the headline. So we have those elements to work with on Facebook. However, when we are showing the ad on Instagram, the headline disappears because there's no headline on Instagram. And so oftentimes that's a key piece of information for, about the post that we're promoting. And so always make sure that if you are going to be selecting both Facebook and Instagram, that your ad appears right, it makes sense, in all the placements selections that you chose.
Really, really cool. In the intro and also at the beginning of the interview, you said the same phrase a couple times, and it just caught me as something I really wanted to dive into, and that's throughout your journey, you've always aimed big, and that you were not sure if sometimes the goal was obtainable in the timeline that you set or something like that, but you always were aiming big. How important is it to play big, to make big goals that just seem unreachable maybe or overwhelming compared to playing the small game?
Oh, I think that it's extremely important to aim big, especially as we're growing businesses. That it's good to have big goals, even though they feel scary. Right now, my goals this year feel completely scary, and
Yeah.
am I really at a position where I'm ready to aim that high? But when you push yourself to aim higher, then you start expanding your thinking and you get more creative about, well, really, if I'm going to shoot for that goal, how am I going to make it happen? And so
Right.
then you kind of expand and open up the possibilities so that, you can welcome those ideas. And at first they might kind of sound ridiculous, like, oh, I couldn't really do that. Could I really do that? I couldn't really do that. And
Right.
and so, but then as you start to kind of get more comfortable with the idea of, well, maybe I should entertain that idea. I mean, my moving into becoming a Facebook ads coach, at first I was like very nervous, not nervous, but more timid to when people reached out to ask me for help with their Facebook ads. At first, I was very open about my experience, that, well, I've done a few campaigns for myself. They worked out well. I don't really know if, I'll show you what I know. But
Right.
so then as I worked with this person and we got great results, and then this person, we got really great results, and then this person, then I was like, okay, well, maybe there's something here.
Right.
Plus I'm really having a lot of fun. And so that's when I started to just say, okay, maybe I need to step out of my comfort zone here and kind of own this. Maybe this is the path that I'm supposed to be on. And ever since I chose to take that step, it's worked out really well. And so I think, just expanding your thinking, being open to the possibilities and reaching those big goals, it's going to take you farther than if you were to just shoot for the smaller, safer, more realistic goals. If you think about um, like gosh, all the great inventors like Elon Musk, or all the amazing inventions, the Wright brothers, who told the Wright brothers that it wasn't realistic to create a machine that could fly?
Right. Right.
And so, but they expanded their thinking, and and they just felt it, that if they worked hard enough, if they were creative enough, they could figure it out and make it happen. And lucky for us, today that they did.
Right.
And so just think about all those things, all those ideas that now seem normal to us, like a cell phone. That sounds, it seems ridiculous. It doesn't have cords or anything, but we can talk to people on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And, but how many years ago did that seem like a crazy idea? So think about that and just open yourself up to possibilities, and you'll take yourself and your business farther than you ever thought possible.
The other thing that stood out to me as we started this interview was that you talked about how you're growing your business, you're growing your team and everything like that. But one of the things that you take into consideration as you're growing what you're doing is giving back to causes you believe in. Can you share a little bit about why that's important to you and why more entrepreneurs need to be thinking that way?
Sure. So I think, a lot of people have, different money mindsets around making money. Do I really need that much money? And so financial freedom has always been a goal of mine. But with that, I've realized that the more money that I make, that means the more good, if I'm doing it in an ethical, way with integrity, then the more good I'm putting out into the world. And then the more that I also have to, give to, paying my team generously, and sharing with causes, and sponsoring things that, that I believe in. And so I've done that a little bit so far in my business, but that is something that I really want to do more and built in, on a more regular basis to my business and to just my practice and the way that I handle money. And so, I think if we can think about that, not only think about what is our business doing for ourselves, what is it, allowing us and our family, to eat and survive and whatever, but just thinking about, what else, as we really grow this, then what could that open up for us to do in the world outside of our business?
Yeah.
And so I've, given to some causes that are, that do good things in this world. And so I would really like to, as I grow my business, do more of that. And I just feel like, that's where we need to focus on making money and what we can do with it. That it doesn't mean that, we're just going to hoard it all, but it means that we have more potential of putting out more good into the world.
Love it. That's so cool. Can you tell us, I mean, you got really cool programs. You have a guide that is awesome. You have your Flourish with Facebook ad system. How can people start to connect with you? How can they find you and start really utilizing some of the resources you have or your services, going a little bit deeper and making that difference in their Facebook campaigns?
Sure. So you can definitely find me on Facebook at monicalouie.com/Facebook.
Right.
That's just a shortcut to my Facebook page. And then my website and my blog is at monicalouie.com. So I've got, blog posts about all these different audience types and strategies and things like that there, and case studies, and lots going on the blog there. And then my free guide that you mentioned is my Facebook ads guide with the 5 questions you must answer before spending any money on Facebook ads.
Okay.
So I find that a lot of times people want to just, create a campaign. That's why the boost post button works so well, because they just want it done right now, in 3 seconds. But I find that you need to step back, think things through a little bit, and then you can go into the ads manager and create a campaign that's going to help you achieve your goals. And so I walk you through what are those 5 questions that you need to answer for yourself before you go into the ads manager and create that campaign. And so that's all broken down there with a checklist, because I love checklists, in the free guide. And you can find that at monicalouie.com/jumblethink. And then my course that you mentioned is called Flourish with Facebook ads. And so you can find that at monicalouie.com/flourish. And that takes you through everything that I teach. It takes you through the strategies that work, the traffic campaign strategies, the conversion campaign strategies, and also how to create all those different audiences, which audiences I recommend you start with, how to create a strategic ad that will actually get the clicks and the opt-ins that you're looking for, and how to select images and all of that. It's all in that course. And I would like to offer your listeners a $50 off promo code if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so that code will be Jumble50, and that will take $50 off the price of the course.
Very, very cool. Well, we'll be right back with Monica Louie and our rapid fire questions. You have big ideas and dreams, but you don't know how to make them a reality. Jumblethink has worked with hundreds of businesses on a tried and true roadmap to take their idea and make it a reality, and we'd love to help you. All you have to do is swing on over to jumblethink.com/contact, jumblethink.com/contact, and drop us a note. Let's start the conversation, move past the idea and into reality. Now let's jump into the rapid fire questions with Monica Louie. We are back with Monica Louie and our rapid fire questions. Monica, are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
I am ready.
Cool. Our first question is, what is one tip you would give someone with a big idea or dream and they don't know where to start?
I would say find one way to just get started doing something so that you begin to gain momentum. You don't need to see the entire path to achieving your idea or your dream. And it might not even turn out to be the best path that you start with, but you'll definitely start learning what works and what doesn't as you just begin.
What is one change you would like to see in the world?
I would like to see an end to settling for mediocrity and the status quo. So don't settle for mediocre dreams, a mediocre business, or mediocre health. Think about all the areas that you can apply this to, but let's just stop mediocrity.
I love that. I think that's so powerful and right on. The next question is, what do you want your legacy to be?
So my goal has always been to make a positive impact in the world. And so right now I'm working to create a business that helps people realize that they can achieve more than they initially think they can. And by helping others achieve more and pushing myself to achieve more, I'm setting an example for my friends and my family around me, but most importantly, I'm setting an example for my kids.
Yeah.
And I want to teach them that they can create the kind of life that they dream about and make a great living by helping people. And my hope is that by doing so, they will set an example for their kids and all the lives that they touch, and there will be this ripple effect.
That's very cool. Where do you find inspiration?
Oh, I love podcasts. So listening to podcasts like this that feature, ordinary people who are creating and businesses and lives that help people and do great things in this world. That's what inspires me.
What is one book you think every dreamer or entrepreneur should read, and why?
So right now I am rereading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And so the focus is on obtaining riches, but I think that it can be applied to so many areas of life. And it helps you learn that if you want something bad enough, you can create a plan to get it, believe that it can be yours, and you can make it happen.
What is one tool that is significant for the success of your business?
Asana. I love Asana. My team and I use Asana to keep all of our projects that we're working, all the balls in the air, keep everything organized so that nothing falls through the cracks. And we just absolutely love it. We're big fans.
Very, very cool. What is one habit you find helpful in your life as an entrepreneur?
Working on my mindset and my self-confidence. And so I do this every day in some form, either through meditation, reading, listening to podcasts, or sometimes all three. And I've learned to change the thought of who am I to, think this big and have these big goals to why not me? I'm here for a reason, and I know that I can do good in this world.
That's very cool. How do you start and finish your day?
So I start my day with meditation, reading, and then exercise. And that just helps me kind of set the tone of the day. And then I finish my day, at least my work day, by cleaning up my desk and start planning for the next day. So I look at my calendar to determine what meetings I have, and I pull out my client files for the next day. And then I plan which tasks that I'm going to work on and when.
If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what would you be doing?
Well, I'd probably still be in a cubicle at my corporate job.
Okay.
But if you want a fun answer, I would love to be a dancer on Broadway. I think that would be so cool. Fun.
Yeah.
I grew up dancing and I still love it, but I think that would be just really fun.
That's very cool. And the final rapid fire question we ask every guest is, what is one dream you are still wanting to fulfill in your own life?
So when we started our debt-free journey, our goal was to become completely debt-free by the time we turned 40.
Okay.
And we're still a few years away from that. And we are down to only our mortgage now, and we're paying it off as fast as we can. But paying off the mortgage quickly is definitely a goal. And I want to grow my business big enough so that we can do that. And then I can also give my husband the option to quit his job if he would like. He actually loves his job, but he does have a little bit of an entrepreneurial bug. Okay. So I'd like to give him the option to decide, what it is he'd really like to do. Yeah. Because he's always been super supportive of me and my entrepreneurial endeavors. So I'd just like to give him the same opportunity.
Before we wrap up today's episode, what's one last thought you want to leave us with?
So I just want you to remember that you really can do anything that you put your mind to. You can create the life that you desire. And definitely at times you'll have to get creative. There will be obstacles, but anything is possible when you realize that you control your outcomes. So dream big and take actions to make those dreams reality.
Monica, it's been a lot of fun having you on the podcast today. Thanks for taking time out, sharing your story with us, and giving us amazing insights into the world of Facebook ads and so much more.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Once again, we want to thank today's guest, Monica Louie, for taking time out to share her story. As always, you can find the link she shared in the episode notes. I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, make sure you swing on over to jumblethink.com/guide. That's jumblethink.com/guide to download your free guides on how to overcome the unknown and how to know when you found your dream. They're completely free, so why not swing on over and download them today? Thanks again for tuning into today's episode. Make sure you get out there and do something. Take a small step, take a big step, but take a step to move your big idea and dream into the world of reality. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, go chase those dreams.
Les mères de famille, les enfants, peuvent également prendre un moment revitalisant dans quelques mois, lorsque vous aurez bien saisi la technique et que vous serez maître de votre corps. Vous pourrez vous décontracter même en travaillant.